Ars is one of the most well-known and controversial gods in Greek mythology, primarily recognized as the god of war, violence, and bloodshed. He is the son of Zeus, the king of the gods, and Hera, the queen of the gods, making him one of the Olympian deities. Unlike his sister, Athena, who represents strategic and rational warfare, Ars embodies the chaotic, brutal, and destructive aspects of battle. He is often depicted as a fierce and aggressive figure, enjoying the carnage of war, and is typically shown in armor, with a helmet and spear, sometimes accompanied by his sons Pharbus, fear, and Deimos, terror, who personify the psychological horrors of war. Ars' role as the god of war contrasts with other gods of combat, such as Athena, who is more associated with the wisdom of strategy and diplomacy in warfare. Ars represents the raw, physical violence and passion of battle, often seeking the thrill of combat for its own sake. While Athena embodies the intellectual side of warfare, Ars represents the chaotic and destructive elements that make wars brutal and merciless. This contrast made him a less popular deity in ancient Greece, where gods associated with wisdom, peace, and prosperity were more highly revered. Many Greek cities, including Athens, found Ars to be a necessary but undesirable presence in their pantheon. Despite his importance in Greek myth, Ars was not universally adored by the gods themselves. He was often depicted as a figure who lacked the nobility and dignity of other deities. In one famous myth, Ars was caught in an adulterous affair with Aphrodite, the goddess of love, which caused great embarrassment when they were trapped in a net by her husband, Hephaestus. This episode highlights Ars' more flawed, less honorable qualities, as he was often seen as impulsive, aggressive, and prone to anger. While he had great power on the battlefield, he was not always portrayed as wise or just, and his reckless nature sometimes made him a source of tension among the gods. Ars' nature as a god of war and violence also made him deeply unpopular among mortals, who often saw him as a bringer of suffering and death. In many myths, Ars' involvement in wars and conflicts led to unnecessary bloodshed and destruction, and he was often blamed for prolonging conflicts rather than ending them. The ancient Greeks recognized the necessity of war and the role Ars played in battle, but they also understood the devastation that came with it. This made Ars a figure of ambivalence, respected for his power but feared and distrusted for the chaos he brought. His influence was mostly invoked during times of war, when armies sought his favor to bring them victory, but he was rarely worshipped or celebrated outside of martial contexts. Despite his generally negative reputation, Ars was still seen as an essential force within the Greek pantheon. His role as a god of war was integral to the balance of power among the Olympian gods and the success of Greek armies. In some regions, particularly in Sparta, Ars was more highly honored, as the Spartans revered his martial qualities and the strength he represented. While Ars was not a god of peace or harmony, his presence in Greek mythology serves as a reminder of the dual nature of war, its capacity for both glory and devastation. His complex character underscores the importance of understanding the darker, more violent aspects of existence and the necessity of balance in the cosmic order.